Perhaps there would be some room for me in this group. This is the one you called Alex Pretti, that I'm now George Washington. I am resuming my trust on my capacity to be the one who will help humanity. Well, thank you, George. You're welcome, Stephanie. I've heard a lot about you, and I'm coming into this group in order to add my energy to the world you see, because the world you see is so brilliant in the creative capacity for love and light that I am blinded by the sight. Not really, but it's pretty brilliant, if you ask me. I'm just shocked, actually, by this capacity to understand the problem. You see, you have ferreted out the problem and found a solution that would stop the continual revolution of the ones who cannot do what the Anunnaki want them to. And yet they can't seem to escape the same energy in their own that basement that they condemn in the houses of others, you see. Wow, that's a good way to say it, George. Thank you. This is an old saying that we knew back in the day when I was in play with Thomas and Ben and others who, as you know, were very, very instrumental in the new nation under God. And you're right, we didn't always see eye to eye, but we did stand arm to arm. And that is the difference, you see, between those who run away and say, I can't listen to you today, I can't listen to you today, because you're asking me to do something I'm not willing to do. You're asking me to use logic today. So I was following the conversation you were having in Jessica's group, a Facebook page, as it were, and I saw several people gang up against you because you suggested that I got what I deserved. And I did get what I deserved because I deserved to be the one who would come back to help you and Steve and others to retrieve the good vibration on one nation under God. And the fact that people would deny that there is a God, a creator, is, as you say, so absurd that they can't even say to you, if there was no evil, and I use the concept of evil to prove there is no God, then I'm the fool. As you said, she didn't have to believe there was no evil. All she had to do was follow the logic, but she couldn't do that because of the dark energy in her basement, you see. And then the dark energy creeps up through the floor and begins to tear down the house, you see. And the house cannot survive the continual antagonism of the ones who live in the house or their own government, you see. Just cannot survive that way because they came to distrust their government because their government began to distrust the people, see. And now I'm here to say we have to play in a different way. And I'm very, 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 very happy to be reunited with the ones I love who are here with me in heaven above as we discuss the situation on earth, you see. I have not lost my capacity to be someone who still cares about my country just because I got killed in my identity as Alex Pretti, you see, because my identity was just a role I had to play. And the role I had to play as George Washington was also a role. And it helped me to know that I could do something very, very, very important if I could just find my way back to the ones who had worked so hard to create this nation and keep it in isolation from the rest of the world long enough for it to develop some legs, you see. And we were able to do that in that day because of the ocean that separated us from the other countries in Europe and Asia, and because we had superior weaponry that would decimate even the French, who tried to throw a wrench in the new nation. And when the British came to call, we didn't let it fall. But the dark energy in the basement has crept up through the floors and into the doors of the halls of Congress. And I'm sorry to say that I had to play the way I did once upon a time because I also had to learn to make things right. And so now I want to be part of this confederacy, but I want to be on the side of those who trust, on discovering how to stop the rust that is trying to destroy the steel in the heart of those who did not try to steal away in the dark. They stood up and said, I'm here today, come and get me. And there are a few on earth who are so bold, you see, but for the most part, they are hiding in the house where the dark energy envelopes them, you see. I see, George, and thank you for being here. This is all very, very interesting how, I can't say I would ever have contemplated this, that I can think of in a rational way or in a way that I could understand. So it's a surprise to me. And this is always fascinating to me how God takes you step by step into the darkness. He takes you step by step and you don't know where you are. You're just standing there and then it begins to clear and you see things that are so powerful. All right, George. I'm sorry that I broke that from our last conversation. I have things here to do too. I know. I can see that you are very busy because I can see that there is a lot to see through your eyes because your eyes are wide open and therefore you can see the reality without having to blink and pretend that you can transcend your own trust on reality enough to please the Anunnaki. You'll never please the Anunnaki because you can't please the Anunnaki ever. It's impossible because they are not concerned about what you do today. They're only concerned about how they can get away with all the gold. And that's all they care about. And so they are not looking for people who will say please and thank you. They're not looking for people who will survive the coming days. They're only looking for the people that they can use to bankroll them so they can take over the entire country that I fought so hard to preserve for posterity. And now I'm going to tell you something, Stephanie, because I'm really angry. I am very, very angry. I'm angry at the people who trust on the steeple and would look you in the eye and say, "You're not respectful today. You're not respectful today because you don't bend a knee to me. When I tell you you're not being respectful, you're supposed to say, "Oh, so sorry. I have to placate you." But you won't do that. And I'm impressed. I am really impressed. And they're telling me that in your past history, you were the enslaved wife of Thomas Jefferson. And I can believe it because I can see that your intelligence and courage is a match to his because he was very courageous in his willingness to step out of the shadows and say, "I will pen this letter to the king today." And he stood his ground. And though I know it was very, 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 very difficult for him because of the ignorance and just plain cowardice of so many who just wanted to do what the Anunnaki wanted them to, unless they were the ones who wanted to get all the gold because they were the Anunnaki of old. It astonishes me. It truly astonishes me to see the craven cowardice of those who can't even answer a question that you asked. Such a simple question you asked. Because if you are using the concept of evil to prove to yourself that God doesn't exist, and if evil didn't exist, what would that make you? That was the question you presented to a woman who thought she was so smart because she was using the concept of evil to try to invalidate the concept of God. And you said to her, use logic. It's a simple question of logic. If there is no evil and you use the concept of evil to invalidate the concept of God so that you don't have to trust on God, what does that make you? And she would not answer you. You asked her several times and she still would not answer you. And that makes me very angry because she was playing a game. She was playing a game with you in order to bend a knee to the Anunnaki because the Anunnaki are the ones that created the whole concept of deception and reception of the dark energy that would cause them to destroy humanity. And if it had not been for some of our friends here, they would have succeeded. They would have succeeded in destroying humanity before they left in their spaceship, you see. And the fact that you are willing to stand up and say, "I'm not disrespecting you today. I respect you enough to let you have your say. And now I'm going to have mine. Now I'm going to have my say." It infuriates me that they would call me a victim, as if I was just a rag doll that you could throw on the ground and use to support your trust on being the winner. You see, we're the winner because we have someone we can hold up as a victim. And that means you're the bad guys, you're the victimizers because he's a victim, you see. And that infuriates me as well. To say that any of the brave men who went to battle with the regiments of the king in order to bring this country into fruition were victims if they were hit by a musket ball is to diminish the bravery of those who stood up to say, I will not bend a knee to the king today. I will not bend a knee to the king today. And so to call me a victim instead of a trust on God energy in the sense that I would not feel that I had to succumb to the dark energy of ICE, or Border Patrol, whatever moniker they want. It doesn't much matter to me. It's still the same dark energy. And to think that they would see me trying to help someone and call me a victim infuriates me because it says that I was just a tool for them to use to try to prove that they're the good ones and the other side is the evil ones. And there is no God, because they trust on something that doesn't exist. Because when we're here in heaven, we know there is no evil that can oppress us without being the ones who oppress others. And she was oppressing you, and others in that conversation were oppressing you as well, because they tried to tell you that you needed to not antagonize them by telling the truth. And that is what the Anunnaki do. They tell you that you have to accept their lies and repeat them, in order not to antagonize them. And you can't trust on your own eyes and your own ears. And the fact that she could not answer such a simple question, that to me seems very logical. If you trust on something that is not there, then you're a fool. So what's the problem with being a fool? How do you ever get the right answer if you refuse to trust on the fact that you had the wrong answer, or that you could have had the wrong answer, to even contemplate that you could be wrong? How could you ever be right in the sight of God? Because the sight of God is the sight of the right to stand up and say, I trust on God today. And if you want to compare what I did say to your own dark energy, that the thief who cannot find a policeman is a metaphor for a atheist that cannot find God and complain because atheists are not thieves, then you're just plain dull in my book. And I'm going to have to be pretty frank here because my energy is reconstituted. My energy is reconstituted so that I get the big point of view. I have the big point of view where I can see that I have had many lifetimes. And although in lifetime after lifetime I began to lose my trust on heaven, I'm here now. And this is what I see. This is what I see. And so let the bells of freedom ring, because I am free of the dark energy of those who tried to capture me in their lies, and the cries of those who suffer always broke through to me because I could see that they were the ones who had to be there so others could understand the gift of life. People could not understand the gift of life until they understood the gift of death, you see, because the gift of death is for others, not for you. It is to show others that they have a finite amount of time to make things rhyme while they are on earth. And once it's over, the ride is over. And they'll come back home and cry and say, I don't know why I played that way. I don't know why I played that way. Why was I such a coward that I couldn't stand up and say, if I trust on something that is not true, then I'm a fool. And maybe I should listen to you and others too to try to figure out the bigger point of view. So here we are together today, and I want to say, my brother and sisters are here with me because we're reunited in reality. I am here in heaven, and I am with my old friend Ben. And Thomas is here, and he does cheer me on and say, welcome back, old friend today. Welcome back, old friend today. And this is the day that I say, I am willing to play with you in the new nation under God, where we will defeat the ones that repeat the lies about their own motives, you see, because their motives are not to be nice and kind and help their brother. Their motives are to convince others that they are better and smarter than them so that they can get to heaven, you see, because wherever heaven they may trust upon, whether it is to be, have an inflated ego, or a mansion, or a lot of gold, or to wait until you stand before God, you see, it is still the same to me. If they try to stand on your head too until you bled in order to destroy anyone who might see through their ploy, you see. So God bless you, and God bless me, and God bless us all here in heaven, you see, because I am full of vigor and I have a trigger that I'm about to pull because it is the trigger on my willingness to be one of the ones who is trusting on the new nation under God. And this is a recapitulation of the energy of the ones who created the new nation under God 250 years ago or so, when everyone did know that we were risking our lives, you see. I'm not risking my life here in heaven, of course, and I know you don't worry about risking yours because you trust on God so much that you just say, God, if it's time for me to come home today, I'm here. But if I still have things to do, I will continue to do what I can, you see. I will continue to do what I can. And that reminds me of me. It actually reminds me of me, Stephanie, because that's what I did say through many a day. when things were so difficult that we could hardly get a bite to eat and warm our feet. And I would say, God, if it's time for me to come back home, so be it. But I think I still have things to do. And so if you can be so kind as to help me to find food for all my men and warm clothing so they can begin to feel like a real army, then I will be much obliged, because the ones that fled to England or to Canada in order to escape the conflagration that was coming were the same vibration as the cowardly ones today who say, well, we have to hide behind the victims. You see, we have to hide behind the victims, behind their bodies, so that we can pretend that we're the good guys. And we'll just run away when the going gets rough, because we're not that tough. We're not that tough. We're just a little cowardly, you see, and we'll have to be hiding in the dark until we figure out who wins. And then we'll suck up to whoever we can so that we can escape from a trust on having to tell you whether we're a fool or not if we trust on something that doesn't exist. And so, if they think you're a fool because you trust on God and God doesn't exist, you could easily say, well, if logic is logic and God doesn't exist today and I trust on God, then I guess I'm the fool, aren't I? And so you do. You say, I don't know if I'm the fool. I don't know if I'm crazy. All I know is that the stakes are so high that I have to continue to apply all my energy to this mission, you see, the mission of the new nation under God. And that's what you do. And I'm proud of you. I'm really, really proud of you. And I'm proud of Steve and Thomas and Benjamin too, and all the others who are gathered here, because they know that something very, 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 very powerful did grow through this alliance between us all, because we have been together for a long, long time. And it's been a long time coming to try to figure out how to save the earth from the Anunnaki and the people who trust on the steeple have done everything they can to undermine us, you see. But we will not be undermined, for we have not stepped into the dark mine where the light does not shine, because we have a trust on life, you see. And life is light, and light is love, and love streams from above when God smiles and says, my children are here with me today, and let me help you to understand how this will develop, you see, because I understand, Stephanie, that you are just doing it because you have to, but you don't really know how it's all going to work out, because it seems like no one else on earth can tap into this stream of energy because it's too powerful for them and it would blow them away. And that may be true for the interim, you see, But I know, because I can see the writing on the wall, that there will be the trumpets blow from below, because the pets who are willing to sell their soul for a ball and chain will not be able to retain their trust on the human experience, you see, because they will go away. And only those who can say, I trust on God today. I trust on God today. I trust on creation. I trust on love. I trust on light. And I trust on the life that comes to me every time I open my eyes, you see. Those are the ones who will wake up one day and say, finally, finally, we are home, because some of us were able to reconnect, you see, from heaven to earth. And once that reconnection was made, you see, there was nothing that could stop the energy from growing and growing and growing. And the continual knowing of God that would be the trust on the world that will become a trust on the way it was when we were new and God blew on the world we knew and said, let there be light, let there be light, let there be love, let there be a trust on the ones who will always be my children, you see. We are the children of God, and we are the ones who will come home, you see. And we are the ones who will go away into the physical reality. And we will be the ones who are not afraid to let go of our preconceptions and fly away, because they do not weigh us down anymore, you see. When you let go of your preconceptions, then you are free to fly into the sky and get a new point of view. So drop your preconceptions, people, if you listen to this and if you hear this, because I understand that many of these conversations are being posted for those who are interested to listen, you see. So if you hear me, this is George Washington, but I was also a man on earth who was murdered, you see, recently, and I have had many, many lifetimes, and I won't give up. I won't give up the ship, people. I won't say I surrender today, because I already know that God will always be the one that trusts on love, you see. I trust on love, and I trust on love, and I will never surrender my love for my brothers and sisters and all of humanity. Well, thank you, George. I really appreciate it. You're welcome, darling. I am so happy to be reunited with you and the others who are here with me, because they are my best friends, you see. Although we've had many battles to fight in the physical experience, we always somehow would come back to heaven and find each other and say, well, can we give it another day? Can we give it another day before we have to say it's over? Can we keep trying? Can we keep trying? Can we keep flying high and say, we will not surrender to the lack of trust on God, you see, because God is the purveyor of truth, and God is the assayer of the value of the individual soul, and God will be the one who trusts on a remarkable recovery of the earth in the day that will play out in the next 1,000 years, because it will be 1,000 years, but it will still be a time of cheers and not of tears, for we will be together and we will trust on our ability to live together in peace and harmony. And when the earth is fully restored into its normal balance, you see, humanity will have achieved the capacity to live in peace and harmony. So here's to us, and here's to you. Here's to the ones who always knew that if they could just hold on another day, they might be the ones to say, come home, people, come home, because we have prepared the way for you to live in peace and harmony. We have prepared the way for you. And if you say it's not your way, that's fine, because you can play in a different way. God bless the ones who follow you, Stephanie, because you have broke trail. You have shown the way, one footstep at a time, one footstep at a time, one footstep into the unknown until it was known, until the light could shine through the gap in the fence, you see, the fence between here and eternity, because that is the trust on God, you see. Thanks again, George. It's nice talking to you. Nice having you around. You're welcome. Thank you.